I found a woman collapsed on the side of a road, poisoned, delirious, and barely conscious. She clutched my neck, dragged me down, and in a fevered haze, we ended up tangled together for the entire night. Of course, I knew exactly who she was. She was the only female Arch Valkyrie of the High Citadel. When the Celestial Guard finally arrived and restored her memories, she looked at me with absolute indifference. "Caleb Vance is nothing more than a lowly hearthkeeper," she said coldly. "He dared to take advantage of my vulnerable state and defile my divinity. His crime is severe." She paused, her voice icy. "However, since he did save me from a perilous fate, I grant him a millennium of ether to settle this karmic debt." With a flick of her sleeve, she ascended back to the Citadel. After she left, I couldn't stop myself from devouring an entire basket of ceremonial fruit. I even gleefully grabbed the long beard of Old Man Jenkins, the local earth spirit. I'm just a blue-collar worker. But now, I can finally be promoted to a high ascendant and move into the Citadel. Every full moon, Seraphina Sterling would recline on her chaise, gazing at me like flowing water. I knew her elite Golden Guard captains were coming that night to discuss strategy. She wore sheer silk, one shoulder bare, pale arm lifted as she swirled a cup of ambrosia. Her red lips parted slightly. "Caleb, come here." I swallowed hard. Like a moth drawn to flame, I walked over and drank the cup she offered. Seraphina leaned in and kissed the wine from my lips. Our breaths mingled. In the heat of the moment, I couldn't help myself. I bit her earlobe. Those armored pretty boys called themselves divine guardians, but their boss had been mooching off me for years. I'd been eaten out of house and home, literally and figuratively. So why hadn't they taken her away yet? Afterward, Seraphina assumed I'd passed out drunk and rose to leave. Joke's on her. As a hearthkeeper, handling high-proof spirits is part of the job description. I slapped an invisibility sigil onto myself and followed her. "Commander," one voice said, "we've informed the Oracle of your temporary power loss. The elixir is ready. You'll recover shortly." A pause. "As for this hearthkeeper, how shall we dispose of him?" Seraphina replied without emotion. "He is nothing but a lowly hearthkeeper. He dared to take advantage of me. Grant him a millennium of ether to settle the karmic debt." Moonlight wrapped around her. The trembling woman who had begged for my touch moments ago vanished. In her place stood a terrifying war goddess. They kept whispering. I stopped listening. I wiped away a tear. Tears of joy. If punishment meant 1,000 years of power, then punish me harder. I was a normal modern American guy before I got sucked into this book. I had accidentally stumbled onto a novel called The Valkyrie's Dominion. It was tagged as tragic romance. Halfway through, it turned into a massive female lead reverse harem fantasy. I was in the middle of furiously typing a 1-star review when, white light. Next thing I knew, I woke up as a D-list background NPC. Seraphina was the protagonist. The Citadel's only female warlord. A woman who gathered admirers wherever she went. No one knew her origins, only that she had existed since the dawn of the realms. The book described her as breathtakingly beautiful. If not for the terrifying silver spear she wielded, she'd be swarmed by suitors. In the story, Seraphina was bitten by an abyssal beast while fighting the demon lord. She fell from the sky, lost her memory, lost her power, and was picked up by the hearthkeeper, Caleb. The original Caleb was a grinder obsessed with climbing the corporate ladder to the Citadel. But when a gorgeous woman fell from the sky, he abandoned all ambition. He burned through his savings and energy just to heal her. Basically, the guy was thirsty. Seraphina eventually regained her memories, played house with him for a bit, tossed him some power, and left. Then began her journey of leveling up and collecting handsome men. But NPC Caleb didn't know his place. He followed her to the Citadel to find his wife. He barely stepped through the golden gates before a guard skewered him as a traitor. Game over. I cried into my pillow reading it. I kept waiting for a redemption arc. Never came. Caleb existed only as a stepping stone for the heroine and her harem. If it were me, I'd take the power and run. With 1,000 years of ether, I could fly anywhere, date anyone, Why die for a heartless goddess who wouldn't even remember my face? In the real world, that's called being a sucker. I slammed my phone down. Wrote a 10,000-word Reddit rant. Boom. White light. I became Caleb. So when the sky turned black and lightning tore through the clouds, I was hiding in the local shrine, gossiping with Old Man Jenkins, eating his tribute fruit without guilt. Then, a body crashed through the roof. Jenkins brushed dust off the person's face. "It's the war goddess," he screamed, then vanished into the ground, shouting that she started it. Fate really wanted us to meet. The book's description was too modest. Loose dark hair, trembling lashes, bitten lip, bruises blooming across pale skin. Audacious goddess, disturbing my peaceful grind set. I pinched my thigh, hoisted her over my shoulder. "Career first," I muttered. "Focus on your career." Her lashes fluttered. She opened her eyes. I shoved my face into her view with a grin. "Miss, you're awake. I saved you." "Where is this?" "Who am I?" "This is my house. I found you, injured nearby. I'm the hearthkeeper, Caleb. I saved you. It cost me 90% of my power." She nodded weakly. I repeated it several times. "Nothing." I coughed loudly. "If you hadn't woken up, I would have had to use the last of my essence." Total lie. I'd used maybe a century's worth. The rest I scammed from Old Man Jenkins. Narrative is everything. Her eyes widened. She grabbed my hands. "Really? How can I repay you? I have no home, no money. I only have this body." I choked. She hurriedly added, I can cook, clean, do laundry." Amnesiac Serafina was innocent and kind. I just hoped she'd tip me extra ether later. We lived together in the cabin. Then one night, she climbed into my bed, wrapped her arms around my neck, and kissed me. 2 lifetimes of bachelorhood ended right there. I prayed, "If you regain your memory, please remember, you forced me." Later, monsters kept coming. Her divine scent attracted everything within 10 miles. She'd giggle and pull their whiskers. I'd drag her away screaming internally, until one night, a greater beast poisoned her with a powerful aphrodisiac. She was delirious. "Lord Caleb, it hurts, rub it. Career first. Career first." But if I didn't help her, she'd die. So I helped. After that, she couldn't stop. Eventually, she got her memory back. And I knew, because she looked at me like trash. I planned to take my power and run. The next morning, she was gone. I stepped outside and saw her clad in full celestial armor, standing at the center of the Golden Legion. Row after row of soldiers knelt, voices thundering in unison. "Welcome back, High Commander." The pressure of their combined aura slammed into me, forcing me to my knees. My fingers tightened around the wooden charm. I tried to retreat back into the cabin, but she saw me. With a casual wave of her hand, she dragged me forward. The pressure crushed my chest. Was she trying to kill me? Scumbag. We lived like husband and wife for 100 days, and you can't even spare my life? I slammed my forehead into the dirt. "Welcome back, High Commander." I didn't dare lift my head. "Caleb," she said coldly, "you, a mere hearthkeeper, dared to defile me. But since you saved my life, I grant you a millennium of ether to settle this karmic debt." I burst into tears. Happy tears. I wiped my face, forcing down the strange ache in my chest. "Thank you for sparing my life. I promise I'll avoid you forever. I won't dirty your eyes." Silence. I peeked up, grinning like an idiot. She clicked her tongue, tapped my forehead, and an overwhelming surge of power, infused with her unique scent, flooded into me. Too much. I blacked out. In my haze, I vaguely saw her flying away without once looking back. The wooden charm lay in the dirt before my eyes. Just like me, it was worthless compared to the divine. I was stupid. Stupid for catching feelings. "Dr. Vance, do you think my wife can conceive?" A gargoyle spirit and his fox-shifter wife stared at me anxiously. I stroked my fake beard and checked her pulse. Difficult. Very difficult. The gargoyle slid a gold bar across the table. I squinted. I've never seen a case like this. Another gold bar appeared. I nodded solemnly. However, since you came to me, I'll do my absolute best. I swept the gold into my pocket and handed them a small black pill. It was nothing more than a compressed vitamin ball with a drop of ether. But miracles are easy when marketing is good. 100 years had passed since Serafina left. With my new power, I ascended to the Citadel but kept a low profile, working as a freelance immortal. I toured the Moon Palace for scenery, snuck into the Demon Realm for booze, and opened an infertility clinic at the border of the realms. Business was booming. The borderlands were chaotic, but the lowlifes were friendly. I was biting a gold ingot to test its purity when the snake spirit from next door leaned over. "Dr. Vance, did you hear? The war goddess killed the demon lord a few days ago. They say she'd been injured for years, but came back for revenge. The demon realm has surrendered, and now all the incubi are begging to join her harem." I slipped the gold into my pocket, so the plot was speeding up. She'd conquered the world. Now she was building her harem. Depressing. I flicked the snake spirit back into his shop and leaned into my chair. "Doctor consulting only. Not open. I'm rich. I make my own hours. I can pay 3 boxes of gold." I shot upright. "Who hates money?" I grabbed the patient's wrist. "Why didn't your husband come? This takes 2. He's here." A cool, familiar voice spoke behind me. I looked up. A stunningly familiar face smiled back. Holy crap. I clutched my money bag and tried to run. But she seized my arm. "Dr. Vance took my money, and now he wants to run?" She arched a brow. "Run? Yes. Hi, Commander. If he can't get pregnant, maybe it's because you have 3,000 boyfriends. What can a quack like me do?" Serafina smiled. Terrifyingly. My legs went weak. I collapsed back into my chair and took her pulse. She tapped the table. "Caleb, long time no see. Did you think I was a ghost?" "And no. I'm just very happy to see you." I wiped sweat from my forehead. Her eyes slowly scanned me like I was a slab of meat. After a moment she asked, "What's the diagnosis?" My brain scrambled. Before I could lie, she reached out and gently stroked my cheek. I squeezed my eyes shut. "100 years ago, I had a husband," she whispered. "Unfortunately, he was a liar. As for why I haven't conceived, perhaps it's his fault. Why don't I go to Dr. Vance's home for a thorough examination?" "Excuse me? You can insult me all you want, but don't insult my swimmers." I pressed my lips together. "Fine. Rank has its privileges." I hugged my money bag, already planning my escape. Snap. She snapped her fingers. Golden guards appeared, grabbed me. Bam. We were back in the old cabin. The place was spotless. The peach tree outside was blooming. Inside, the tension was suffocating. Serafina sprawled lazily on the bed. "Caleb, water. Sweep the floor. I see dust. I'm hungry. Cook something." I clenched my teeth. "I thought we settled the debt. Why are you haunting me? You're not recruiting me into your harem, right?" Broom in one hand, teapot in the other, furious, powerless. I slammed a bowl of terrifying black porridge in front of her. "Commander, my cooking sucks. You should go back to the Citadel and let your demon boy toys feed you grapes." She chuckled, picked up the bowl, drank the toxic sludge without blinking, then wiped her mouth on my sleeve. "This porridge upset my stomach. I'll have to stay the night so the doctor can monitor me." "What?" I stared. "Attempting to poison a war god," she smirked. "No problem. Stay as long as you like." She nodded, stripped off her outer robe, and rolled into my bed. I reached out, then stopped. "That's my bed." She probably forgot which room was which. I turned toward the guest room. "Dr. Vance's porridge is potent. My stomach hurts. I need monitoring. Lady, please kill me if you want. Don't torture me." I grabbed a blanket and curled up in the corner. Silence fell, but I felt eyes on me. I opened mine. She was watching. I closed them. Still watching. "I will endure. My stomach hurts. Come rub it." PTSD hit instantly. But she was the war goddess now. I shuffled over and lightly touched her stomach. The next second, she pinned me to the mattress. I lay there like a corpse. She hugged me from behind, hot breath against my ear. Is the harem not enough? Her arm tightened around my waist. It felt familiar. Too familiar. My eyelids grew heavy. Before I drifted off, I felt her bite my earlobe, kiss down my neck, and murmur, "Caleb, I made you wait." Sunlight hit my face. I woke to Serafina propped on one elbow, grinning. Awake. I bolted upright. "Don't watch me sleep." She slid her hand under my shirt, gliding down my chest. "Caleb, come back to the Citadel. Be my husband." I grabbed her wrist before it traveled further. "What?" She paused. "There's a government vacancy. Pays well." "Pays well." My ears twitched. She smirked. "Very domestic of you. The weaver's red strings are tangled. We need someone to untie them. Great benefits. Much safer than being a quack doctor." Eyed her suspiciously. "Why me?" She shrugged. "Besides, I ate your porridge. I need to keep you close in case I die." Yep. That sounded like her. She was just messing with me. But freelance income was unstable. And having a goddess owe me favors sounded nice. "Lesson 1, the weaver said, handing me a red cord. "Tie this to your wrist." I tied it. Knotted it tight. Red light flashed. The knot vanished. "Did I pass probation?" I asked. The weaver burst into tears and hugged me. Finally, someone tied it. He shoved a box of jewels into my arms. "Congratulations. Signing bonus." I opened it. Gold. Gems. Score. Serafina dumped me there immediately. The weaver looked at me with pity, but kept me. Connections matter. I spent my days untangling fate threads. High salary. Easy work. One day, I exited the palace and saw Serafina waiting, smiling. Before I could call her my sugar mommy, she hugged me tight. "Hey, not in public. One of your harem members might stab me." I pushed her away. Junior clerks whispered. She scattered rose petals and teleported us to the war god palace. Guards knelt. "Congratulations on the wedding." I froze. "Wedding? You got married." She smiled. Maids rushed out. "Congratulations, master. The feast is ready." I pointed at myself. She took my arm. "Husband, let's go in." "I'm not your husband." The maids giggled. "Master, change into your robes." The High Commander's red string sat with the weaver for 1,000 years. No one dared touch it. "You tied it yourself. It cannot be removed." My eyes rolled back. I nearly fainted. I was a law-abiding citizen. How did I get scammed into marriage? They shoved me into red wedding robes. "You tricked me," I shouted at Serafina. She walked in wearing matching red. "Husband, don't rush. We'll drink the wine soon." She looked soft, radiant, almost domesticated. Total honey trap. "You lured me into tying your red string." She stepped closer. "Husband, how can you say that? You tied it yourself. Did you not eagerly seek to marry me?" Gaslighting. Pure gaslighting. Now I understood why the weaver and those cherubs had been grinning. My own greed sold me out. Serafina wrapped her arms around my waist, blew warm breath into my ear, stood on tiptoe, nibbling my neck. The maids squealed, covered their faces, and fled. Look at this shameless behavior. Who knew how many handsome men she'd already married in this palace? How many people had she called husband before me? A sharp pang of jealousy stabbed into my chest. If I really married her, wouldn't I be fighting for her attention every single day? Would I have to fake fainting spells or stage dramatic poisoning attempts just to compete with her demon boy toys? At this rate, I'd probably end up pushing Serafina into a pond out of pure spite. I shoved her away, pronouncing every word clearly. "I do not want to marry you." The moment those words left my mouth, her eyelashes fluttered. Her face drained of color, twisting as if she were in unbearable pain. She grabbed my wrist, revealing the glowing red string. "Do you know this string cannot be removed? Once it's worn, we must marry." Her voice trembled, thick with unshed tears. I clenched my jaw, turned my head away, and refused to look at her. Suddenly, violent winds erupted around her. Thunder roared. Lightning split the sky. The peaceful blue heavens above the citadel turned pitch black in seconds. Serafina reached out, pinched my jaw, and forced me to face her. I stared into her scarlet eyes. I was terrified, but I stubbornly shot back. But I don't want to. Seraphina squeezed her eyes shut. A single tear slid down her cheek. My heart throbbed painfully. I wanted to take it back. Wanted to say something else. But before I could, she coughed up a mouthful of blood and collapsed. I lunged forward and caught her. Her red wedding robe was soaked through. The fabric had hidden the blood until now. This wasn't an act. Not a pity trick. She leaned close to my ear, delirious. No, you have to marry me. Maids rushed in from all directions. But Seraphina clutched my hand with terrifying strength, refusing to release me until she lost consciousness. I leaned against a pillar outside the chamber. Divine healers and maids rushed in and out. From their hushed conversations, I pieced together the truth. She had been critically injured for a very long time. If she was hurt, why go to the border to find me? Why force a marriage when she could barely stand? How could an invincible war goddess be wounded this badly? A healer stepped out. I grabbed his sleeve. How did the High Commander get hurt? He rolled his eyes at me. Consort, the commander has been fighting the Demon Lord for 100 years. She took countless injuries. She killed the Demon Lord recently, but was gravely wounded. She barely managed to get out of bed before running to the border to find you. Do you think she had time to heal? His voice was sharp with resentment. I swallowed. Didn't she have time to recruit a harem of demon lovers? The healer's face turned purple with rage. His beard practically lifted from his chin. Rumors. Filthy rumors. Our commander is chaste. There hasn't been a man in this palace for centuries. Aside from old staffers, she ignores everyone. You reject a woman like her? You need your eyes checked. I laughed awkwardly. So, I'd misunderstood her. My heart slammed violently against my ribs. A strange joy pushed through the guilt. But one thing still bothered me. If she sought me out despite her injuries, why had she been so cold when she regained her memories? We needed to talk. I sat beside the bed, watching her sleep. Without makeup, she looked pale and fragile. Her brows were knitted together, as if trapped in a nightmare. I reached out and gently smoothed her forehead. What are you thinking, Seraphina? If you like me, why be so cold? If you don't, why risk your life to find me? Did she really spend 100 years cleaning the cabin I never returned to? My fingers traced her eyes, her nose, her lips. Suddenly, she caught my finger in her mouth. Her tongue curled around it. My face instantly burst into flames. I tried to pull back. She grabbed my wrist. So, have you learned how to be a husband yet? I felt wronged. You were pretending to be asleep. You lied to me again. Seraphina didn't get angry. She laughed softly, pulled me down, wrapped herself around me like an octopus, resting her head on my shoulder. Husband, if you have grievances, I can explain. She reached beneath her pillow and took something out. The wooden charm. The one I'd thrown into the dirt a century ago. You like me? My nose stung. I decided you were my husband back in that cabin. I held the charm tightly. Then what about the golden guards? The demon boys? She looked genuinely amused. She bit my neck, her voice husky. Never. Otherwise, why would I visit an infertility clinic? I blushed violently and clamped a hand over her mouth. Don't say that. It was fine when we did it, but saying it out loud makes me want to move to another dimension. I met her gaze. Her eyes looked like they held entire galaxies. Then why were you so cold when you got your memory back? You almost crushed me with that pressure. Seraphina fell silent. After a few seconds, she cupped my face and kissed my cheek. Do you believe me? I nodded. That day, I regained my power. But the demon lord hunting me would have sensed it instantly. If he knew you were my weakness, you would have become a target. I couldn't protect you every second. So I had to pretend to be heartless. I gave you the ether to protect you. I planned to return once the demon lord was dead. It made sense. But what if the ether wasn't enough? What if I was in danger? She played with my hair. My essence is inside you. It acts as a live feed. A live feed. She'd been watching me. Eating. Sleeping. Showering. I forced a polite smile. So you installed a spy camera in my soul. Zero privacy. Seeing my expression, she grinned sheepishly. Husband, we're an old married couple. That's normal, right? I nodded slowly. She was powerful enough to run a psychic surveillance system. I had no say. Then why rush into marriage? Why all the dramatic role play? She pouted and snuggled closer. Dr. Vance, I haven't been pregnant in so long. I brought my husband. It must be his fault. You can't take the consultation fee and not do the work. Before I could protest, she tackled me onto the mattress. Epilogue, Seraphina's POV. I am Seraphina Sterling, High Commander of the Citadel. Before I met Caleb, my only purpose was protecting the realms. I never imagined I would marry. The day I fell from the sky, I was saved by a lowly hearthkeeper. When I regained my memories, I realized I had lost my purity to him. We had lived as husband and wife. I was furious. But without my full power, I had to hide from the demon lord. I kicked him out of bed. But watching the light fade from his eyes hurt more than any wound. Could I love a mere spirit? He had no status, no power. I could crush him with one finger. Yet my eyes kept following him, chopping wood, cooking, bringing me water. A thought took root. Maybe staying like this wasn't so bad. When my legion found me, I had to choose. I threw away the charm to push him away, spoke cruel words to save him. I wanted both duty and love. But at that moment, I had to sacrifice his feelings to save his life. I gave him a millennium of my own essence. My lieutenants objected. They warned I wouldn't be strong enough to fight the demon lord. But I'd already broken his heart. I couldn't let him be defenseless too. I needed to watch over him, always. Later, I returned for the charm, paid old man Jenkins to maintain the cabin. I fought the demon war for 100 years. I won, at a terrible cost, broken, bleeding. I didn't care. I only wanted my cheap husband back. So I pretended to be drunk, raided the weaver's palace, tangled all the red strings, threatened the old man. Caleb had to be the one to untie my string, and he had to tie it to himself. I lured that money-grubbing ghost to our wedding with a few boxes of jewels. As for the future, he has to take responsibility. New goal, a basket full of baby hearthkeepers. Story complete.